I'm going to review the dice game for The Price is Right on January 3rd, '01. Toya will play the dice game for a Ford car. As the game starts, the the first number of the price of the car when it was revealed, Drew revealed the first digit, and it was a 2. That means the price of the car is in the 20s, thousands. And Toya starts playing the dice game. Toya rolled the first die of the price of the car. On the first roll of the die, Toya rolled a 1. 1 was not the next digit of the price of the automobile. We obviously know that the next number had to be higher than 1. Meaning the next number was done for Toya. Next came the second roll of the die, and on her second roll, Toya rolled a 5. Was 5 the next number? Was the middle digit a 5? No. Toya said the middle digit should be lower than 5, hoping that it's not a 6. And next roll of the die, Toya rolled was a 5. Another 5. Was the next digit a 5? No. Again, Toya said the next digit would be lower than 5. Hoping that the 6 will not appear on the next 2 digits of the price of the automobile. It all came down to the fourth and final roll of the die, and on her last roll she rolled a 2. Was 2 the last digit of the price of the automobile? No. Toya said the last digit should be higher than 2. Very interesting. Now, the rolls of the dice were 1, 5, 5, 2. Higher, lower, lower, higher. Drew starts to reveal the actual retail price of the card. The first digit was a 2. The next digit was higher than 1. Drew slides up the next digit, which was higher than 1. And the next number was a 3. The actual retail price is $23,000. All Toya has to do is not to find a 6 on it. The next 2 digits. If one of the next 2 digits does not have a 6, Toya will continue to win the car, the automobile. Now, as Drew lined up the middle digit, Toya rolled a 5. She thought it was lower than 5 because it was not a 5. Was the next digit of the price of the car lower than 5? Drew revealed that next digit, and the next number was 3. And then we're all right. Just like the second digit, the middle digit is a 3. 23,300 something. Now the next digit. If the 6 is not the next digit, that's the only way she could lose the automobile. because she rolled 2 5s, and luckily she did the right thing. And let's hope that we don't see a 6 on the next digit, because that's the only way she could lose. She rolled a 5 and it was not. She said it was lower. When Drew Carey revealed the next digit of the price of that automobile, the next digit of the price of the automobile turned out to be, was it lower than 5? And the answer was no, it was not. The next digit was a 6. And Toya loses the automobile. And that ended the game. Poor Toya. She does not win the Ford. The next number was a 6. Drew was like, well, was the last digit of the price of the automobile higher than 2? Yes, the last digit was a 5. That was the only number she missed, was the 6 on the 4th digit. The actual retail price of that car was $23,365. Again, with that familiar price to be used on the dice game. $23,365 has been in the use of the actual retail price of that car. This time it didn't work for Toya. And that was the Price is Right dice game review for Tuesday, January 3rd of 01. You know, that would be couple of decades on that same day, 22 years ago, back in 23. In fact, last year, it was the anniversary of the day that Ray LeLong loses Jeopardy! And you know that was that first playing of the dice game in 01 was a loss. The first loss of the dice game back in 01 in the first playing. So as you know that when dice game was played on January 2nd in 06 and this year, 24, it was a win. We did have a loss on that same day back in 98. So far, that's been the wins were all right. But when they were playing dice game back in 06 and 20, and this year, 24. And you know, last year, that same day that Toya lost the car, January 3rd of 23, 23,365 was the prize. Then the year last year, 23, that was the day that Ray LeLong loses Jeopardy, and you know, and I was like, he gotta keep going, he gotta keep winning, and he didn't. I don't know because you know, I was to say that was more lucky that Ray LeLong had lost his game because due to the fact that, you know, Jonathan Fisher had tied Chu's number and Ray LeLong tied Matt Jackson's number. I'm going to give a shout out for Houston, Texas, and Dallas, Fort Worth, and Los Angeles, New York, the channels. And how did you feel when Ray LeLong lost last year? And how did you feel about the dice game loss back in '01? Well, January 3rd of '01, it was a school day. We went back to school on that day. And that was kind of a day, bad day. But not that really bad because Drew said light up the last ditch after it was lost. And that was the dice game win, the dice game review for January 3rd of '01. And this has been Rudy Iraeta. Gonna sign off right now for the dice game. See you on the next dice game review on The Price is Right.